and 5th. Johnny Herbert is 6th, only 0.8 of a second off the pace. This is it, coming up. Schumacher gets away well, better than Hill. Coulthard is alongside his teammate. Coulthard is challenging as they go to the left-hander, but it is Schumacher, Hill, Coulthard, then the two Ferraris. Johnny Herbert is inside one of the Ferraris. It was Jean Alesi's, and here we come. Schumacher leads, clear track in front of him. Then the two Williams, then the two Ferraris. Johnny Herbert, Mika Häkkinen is in 7th place. The two Jordans of Irvine and Rubens Barrichello, they're the two 40s, the yellow cars, which are 8 seconds a lap at least slower than the men at the front. So Pedro Diniz will be lapped very, very soon indeed, maybe as early as the 7th or 8th lap. This is coming down towards the east hairpin for the first time. No change in the first 5 so far. It's Berger in front of Alesi. Schumacher leads, and already a gap is developing between the Benetton Renault, and incidentally, Schumacher started from the 100th pole position for the Renault concern. David Coulthard out, so there are 2 of the top men out. I don't know what happened to Coulthard because we didn't see it any more than you did, but that means to say that it's already here's a replay. Now they're coming underneath the bridge on the approach to the east hairpin. The Ferrari goes through on the left, and Coulthard just lost it. Coulthard just lost it, probably on a damp patch, into the gravel track. And it looked to me in the process as though Alesi passed Berger and up into now 3rd position. But the race is continuing, it's not being stopped.
So let's look at Coulthard now. Coming down to the hairpin, he brakes, and simply what happened, I'm sure, is that with the slippery conditions we've got, we said that those tyres weren't up to temperature. We know from this morning's warm-up session that the Williams is tricky when it's wet. Now, it's not wet, but it is damp.
It worked out that the difference between a one-stop tyres and fueling strategy and 2 would be 1 second over the distance of the race. That's how finely the margins are that they have to work to.
And here's the kind of time when Alesi will really hope that Hill's going to be stumbling over Katayama. That's Katayama in the Tyrrell ahead of him. Katayama having had that time penalty. And Alesi is indeed closer than ever. And he is having a look into that. This is where Coulthard went off. And he's going to be having a lot more looks too, because there isn't just Katayama ahead. Ahead of Katayama is Martini in the Minardi. So there's a bit of potential now for Alesi to get by.
Yes, and he's going for it now. He's going to try and go down the inside and force Damon Hill out of the... And he's done it! Jean Alesi moves up into 2nd place with a really forceful move. Now we're with Damon Hill. This is the end of the lap that they're coming up to now. There is the chicane. Here's a replay.
Absolutely brilliant driving there from Jean Alesi. That might have looked relatively easy from where we were looking, but he would have been braking from 185 miles an hour right down through the gearbox, down to 2nd gear. Let's look at it from Damon Hill's side. Watch on your right side for Alesi to... There we are, a little flick to the left from Hill. He knew that the moment was lost. He's keeping on the power. He's keeping tight in case Alesi runs wide. But that was good driving from Alesi. He knew that the situation was developing in which Hill... And Alesi's in for his stop now. Alesi's first stop. Let's watch this one.
From 2nd position. Now remember, Eddie Irvine took 16 seconds. They've got to take on a lot of fuel. They've got to take on enough fuel to go half the race, and that's the indication. Remember, take off 3 seconds for putting the nozzle in, taking the nozzle out. So call it 13 seconds, and his time there of some 16.
Win Grand Prix in his quest for championship success.
Schumacher there. He's slow. Schumacher's slow. Michael Schumacher is in trouble in the Canadian Grand Prix on lap 58. He's not touring, but he's going a heck of a lot slower than he was before. Does this mean to say that we are going to see a Ferrari win the Canadian Grand Prix, and that Alesi is going to be the man who does it on his birthday? Schumacher's losing time all the time. He's on lap 58 now. It's a 69-lap race. He is very definitely going to have to come in at minimum. He's round the hairpin now. This is a highly dramatic development, to put it very mildly indeed. Remember, Michael Schumacher went out at San Marino when he had a crash, and he has won all the other races except Argentina, where he finished 3rd. So now look at the Minardi, which is miles an hour slower, and the Ferrari enthusiasts are going mad. They can smell victory for Jean Alesi. And wouldn't it be terribly bad luck for Benetton, for Schumacher, of course, but hopes all round the world, I'm sure, that Ferrari is going to do it. Well, Michael Schumacher's had a good fair whack of wins into the pits, and we're going to be watching very carefully indeed to see Jean Alesi take the lead, and he looks to me as though it's a retirement. The steering wheel comes out, Michael Schumacher will come out. This is P1 on his pit board as he starts his 69th and last lap. Turn 1, turn 2, there are on this lap 15 turns altogether, 15 corners, and Alesi is really within sight of his first and very well-deserved victory.
Ferrari having done a great job, and here is the reward here. Alesi having the reliability, and Alesi really responding beautifully. Wonderful victory for Alesi. Gerhard Berger not quite being on the pace, and then charging into the back of Martin Brundle. But Benetton probably would have won. We mustn't forget this. Schumacher continues to take fastest laps, lap by lap. And if it hadn't been for what I'm sure was a gear selection problem, he would have been out in front, whilst Williams have clearly got more work to do on pace, they've got more work to do on reliability, and David Coulthard too undoubtedly made a driving error. But Jordan really are one of the heroes of the race here. Second and third place for Jordan is a superb effort, and they really do deserve it thoroughly.
Out of the hairpin, that's turn 10, up to the lead. Jean Alesi potentially victorious, just a few hundred yards, because he's now up to turn 12. The Ferrari mechanics are already leaning over the Armco, ready to greet him home, and what a hero he's going to be, not just here in Canada, but all around the world with Ferrari fans, and particularly, of course, in Italy. Jean Alesi wins the Canadian Grand Prix to euphoric applause all the way round. Everyone will be delighted. That means to say that Ferrari goes back into the leadership of the World Championship for Constructors, which they held in Spain, lost at Monaco, and have regained here in Canada. And this is reprehensible, extremely reprehensible. The fans have broken ranks and crowded onto the track. Only 9 finished out of the 24 who started, and look at Jean Alesi out of the cockpit. Has he kept the engine running? No, he has not. That's Rubens Barrichello, who's obviously as pleased. So Alesi getting a lift from Michael Schumacher. That reminds me of that evocative situation when Nigel Mansell gave Ayrton Senna. Isn't it lovely to see real emotion and happiness? Alesi absolutely overjoyed, and he's every reason to be.
I feel fantastic, but it was very difficult for me because I really waited a lot of time to get this first win. I was in the past sometimes close, sometimes in a good position at the start, but never this victory. I really want to thank all my real fans, all my teams, because I really had a great moment in Ferrari, bad moment, and now to have this victory with Ferrari is something unbelievable.
What were your feelings when you saw P1 on your pit board as you came past?
It was not just a P1, because I saw many times in P1, but I never saw P1 on my last lap. I understand to be in very good position to win when Schumacher stopped, when Schumacher take out the steering wheel. It was just at the moment when I was at the hairpin, so I saw on a big screen on TV, and I said in my mind, okay, maybe today is the right moment.
After